Greetings, everybody. How are you doing today? How are we doing, depending on where you're watching from? So today we are going to practice our basic sketch. Yes, we'll be drafting our basic sketch pattern. All right. So I'm going to cut it into two parts. Like I said, my class is for beginners. I'm starting with beginners, and I'm starting this particular topic. I'm going to break it into two parts so that you will be able to follow me, gradually, and then to try your own utmost best to understand what I'm trying to do as well. So I don't want to make it lengthy or drag the class. I want you to follow me step by step so that at the end of this class, you'll come out with a beautiful basic sketch. Okay, please, I'll repeat myself again. My class is for beginners, but if you also know how to sew and you still need more knowledge, because knowledge is not wasted, we will continue to learn until the day we leave this planet Earth. So no knowledge is a waste. If you feel your way of drafting a basic sketch is not really okay for you, please join this class and also learn how to draft this basic sketch pattern. Okay, so with all said, let's get to the practical part of it. Now we are starting with 2 inches. The 2 inches is not in our measurement, it's just the procedure of drafting our basic sketch. First, you find your 2 inches. Where is your 2 inches? This is my 2 inches. If you follow up my measurement taking or tape reading in our first class, you understand what I mean by all this. So we'll be measuring 2 inches from the top line of your paper. You come down here. Now this is your top line, and this part facing you is called the center front, C front, and then you have the middle of the paper, and the other side is the center back. So what we are doing, we are starting from the center front in. Here is called center front. All this is called what? A center front. So I'm going to measure from the center front in. All right. Please pardon this a bit. Okay. Now let's start drafting. From this point, from the top line, we measure down. I'll take the camera as close as possible here. Now you find the midpoint of your paper, or where you can use your eye to gauge your 2 inches. Take your ruler, depending on the length you're using. I'm using a 12 inches length of ruler. You need a longer ruler as well. Now you connect points. Okay, now these 2 inches I've achieved now will be labeled as what? Top line. Just label it as your what? Top line. Now the next measurement we'll get is what? Our waist to hip measurement. What did you get when you took your measurement? I got 9 inches. Yours might be 7. Yours might be 8, depending on the person you measured. You took the measurement from. Okay, my own model was 9 inches, so I'm going to use 9 inches here. So the measurement will be taken from this point down 9 inches. Now do the same here. Just find the midpoint of your paper to get it. Now I'll connect. You can get as much points if you know your hands are not straight. Okay, get as much dots or points as possible so that your line will come out straight. Now I have to connect it. All right. So now this line I just got now, that's from here to here. From my top line down is what, 9 inches. So this line we just achieved now, which is waist to hip measurement, is will be labeled as what, hip line. You can just use hip as well, you don't need to put the line, but since we are learning, I have to put it, label it, okay, in that manner and form. So the next measurement we'll get now is the length. What is the length? Your waist to knee measurement. Mine is 20, okay, but my client says she wants hers to be 23. That will be the length of her skirt. So I will be using 23, but her waist to knee is 20, but she said she wants her skirt a bit below her knee length. So I'll be using 23, meaning I've added 3 inches to her waist to knee length. So how do we measure it? Take your tape rule, okay? Everything is starting from the top line. From here, starting from the center front. All right? You measure down 23. Remember, I added 3 inches to her waist to knee because that is the length she desires, okay? So I'm doing 23 from top line down 23. Put a mark. I'll do the same here. Get as much points as possible so that your line comes out really straight. All right? Okay. So just in this form. Now connect. So now I have the length of my what? Skirt. So this will be labeled as what? Length. Oh, can you see me? Yes, here will be what? Length. Okay, just put length. Don't use the line, just use length. Now we have our waistline. We have the waistline, which is the top line. We have the hip line and then the length. So what we need to do now is to add our measurements on this line. We got to add our measurements on this line. So how do we add our measurements on this line? Okay, your waist around. Hi guys, so as we were saying, this is the calculation part of the basic skirt pattern. So we will be calculating our waist around measurements, hip around measurements, and then knee around measurement. Now on my basic measurement taking, I did not include the knee around measurement. Like I said, that as the class goes on, there are some measurements that we will be needing when it comes to the clothes we will be drafting on. So this particular basic skirt, we need the knee around measurement. Now, how is that achieved? It is achieved at the round part. Okay, at the end of this class, I'm going to take the measurement, okay, to show you how to take the knee around. But for the calculation part of it, let's go ahead with it. Then I'll show you how to take that particular measurement, which is the knee around. So we need these 3 measurements to start to put on these lines we've achieved. So I'll write it down so you see. So you waist is just W. You can use just W. Waist around. My waist around measurements, I got 31.5. So you write 31.5 divided by what? We are dividing everything by 4 because our pattern is a quarter pattern. Okay, it's quarter. So everything will be divided by what? Quarter. Now we'll go for hip around. Just use HA. HA. My hip around is 43. I don't know what you got. Work with your measurements. I got 43. Now this 43 will also be divided by what? 4. And then the next measurement is what? Our knee around, which I'll show you how to take the measurement at the end of this class. My knee around, I'm going to use I'm using 28. Okay, so near around you can just use Ka. So I'm using 28, which will also be divided by what? 4. So guys, calculate yours and put it down while I do the same now. So guys, I've divided mine. You divide yours. I don't know what you get. So for mine, for my waist around, I got 7.875. Then for the hip around by 4, which is 43 divided by 4, I got 10.75. And then my knee around divided by 4, which is 28 divided by 5, I got 7. Now, I'm going to have a class on these points, how we're going to convert inches to decimal points. I'm going to show you that, okay? But let's continue with this class. So I will show you how to convert your inches to decimal points. My mathematicians, I know some of you that are good in mathematics, you understand this part of the class, okay? So let's continue with our class. Now, this top line now stands for the what? Waistline. Now, what is my waist measurement divided by 4? I got 7.875, okay? Now, this is it. This is 7. I got 7.875. This is my 7. Then 875 is this. I'll discuss how you got, I will have a class on this. So it's just the one close to number 8. So this is my 7, 8, this point here. So that's what I'll use. So I'll take the measurement from the C front, which is here, to this point. So I'm marking what? My 7.875. 7, this is my 7.875. I will explain this to you. Why is that point there? I've marked it. Now is our hip measurement. The hip, which is 10.75, from the C front as well, measure in. This is my 10.75. Let me show you. 10. I told you don't omit any of these points. My first class reading of tape, I told you. 10.75. So this will be this one. It will fall on 6. Guys, don't get confused. I'll teach you of these decimal points, or I'll write it down for you to follow the charts to make it easier for you. So this is my 10.75, which is giving me 10.6/8. All right, hope you are following. So on my hip line, I'll mark it 10.6/8. Now the next is our knee around measurement. My knee around measurement, I'm using 28, okay? 28 divided by 4 is 7. Of course, 7 is just a whole number. I don't have anything to do with the points there, just 7. Now you measure 7 on the what? On the length. Where is our length? Now that's our length. So you measure from here, still from the center front in 7. All right? Now we have our points. Now we have to connect these points together. I'm going to connect this point to this, and then this to this, to give us what? Our skirt. To give us our skirt length. Okay. Have I measured that 7? Yes, here. So let's connect. Please, guys, you need a long ruler. Okay? So for me, you need a long ruler. I'm going to connect from here to here. You see the points I'm connecting. Okay? And then I'll connect to the length as well. You need a what? You need a long ruler. Okay, so now that's the skirt. You can see how, let me take this. You can see how it looks like. Okay, so that's our pencil skirt. So let's I'll stop this class here for today so you can get it. Then our part two of the class is where I'll add the darts. Okay? How to take your knee around measurements. Close your legs like this. Now take the tape rule around your knee. It should be like 2 to 3 inches above your kneecap. This is my kneecap. So make sure it's above the kneecap 2 to 3 inches. Now take a step. Now make sure you are comfortable enough. You know it's a pencil skirt. Take a step. Make sure that it's comfortable enough for you to walk. Okay, whatever you have, you use as your knee around measurement. So this is what we divide by 4. All right.